Welcome to Season 2 of World's Toughest Podcast. On today's episode, this is The Talk with Evan Perperis and Ryan Woods. Consider this your mature language warning. This is the World's Toughest Podcast. Welcome to the World's Toughest Podcast, where we talk about any obstacle course race you'd like, as long as that's World's Toughest Mudder. Each week we talk to members of the WTM community and share stories of success and failure in the single greatest event in OCR. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the World's Toughest Podcast. Welcome back to the World's Toughest Podcast. My name is Will Hicks. You can reach me at willhicks@gmail.com, and you can subscribe to our free weekly World's Toughest newsletter by texting the word tough to the number 22828. That's tough, number 22828. And you can be a part of the show by leaving a review on iTunes. I will read it in a future episode. I appreciate every review. Thank you. A quick warning. This episode has more mature language than a usual episode. This one is not for the kiddos. This is our first episode of Season 2, but it is not a typical episode. Our first regular episode of Season 2 will drop on January 22nd, on Monday of Kickoff Week. We'll have a new episode every day that week. For more information on Kickoff Week, check out next week's newsletter. You can get that free weekly newsletter by texting TOUGH to the number 22828. We'll have all the Tough Mudder news and whatnot that week, but not today. After you listen to this episode, I want to hear your thoughts. There is a discussion post on our Facebook page, facebook.com/World's Toughest Pod. Let me know what you think. Also, Evan and Ryan are real people. They're not just voices on your phone or athletes on a podium. So don't be a jerk in the comments. Before we talk with Evan Perperis and Ryan Woods, let me bring you up to speed on the whole story. What's been going on the last 2 or 3 months? On October 15th at the OCR World Championships, Ryan Woods finished in first place in the team category and third place in the individual 15K race. Woods, along with all of the other podium finishers, took a drug test in accordance with WADA standards. On November 22nd, OCRWC announced that Woods did not pass the drug test. As a result, he was penalized by OCRWC by having his team being stripped of their first place finish and Woods being stripped of his individual third place in the 15K race. He will also not be permitted to compete in the 3 races under the OCRWC umbrella for 2018. On November 12th, before the OCRWC drug test results were known, Woods competed at World's Toughest Mudder as part of a national relay team. His team finished in first place with 120 miles in 23 hours and 56 minutes. On Christmas Eve, Tough Mudder announced Woods' team would be stripped of their first place finish. Woods will be permitted to race in all Tough Mudder races in 2018. Spartan Race announced Woods would face no penalties from Spartan. So, OCRWC was in October. World's Toughest Mudder was early November. The results came out on November 22nd. Since the results were announced, Ryan has been a guest on the Obstacle Racing Media podcast twice with Matt B. Davis, and the Link Endurance podcast once with Miles Keller and Mo Brosett. Ryan has admitted to taking the banned supplement, but only on accident. Ryan says he mistook the banned supplement DHEA for the allowed supplement DHA. Also, since the announcement, Evan Perperis has devoted 2 episodes of his Strength and Speed podcast to the situation. Evan has said he believes Ryan is lying about accidentally taking the banned supplement. Evan has said he believes Ryan took it intentionally and got caught. Ryan and Evan wanted to discuss all this and get it all out in the open. Matt B. Davis recommended our podcast, World's Toughest Podcast, as a neutral playing field, and Evan and Ryan agreed. To keep everything fair, the audio is virtually untouched. There's some minor editing at the beginning, but other than that, what you hear is exactly how the conversation went. I don't want to be Mr. Hype It Up guy, but the conversation gets heated. Do not listen to this with your kids in the car. Seriously, that is your final warning. It's time to talk with Evan Perperis and Ryan Woods. Let's go to the phones. All right, I've got Ryan Woods and Evan Perperis on the phone with me. Thanks for calling in, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely.
I'm going to just introduce you guys real quick, and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about. Ryan Woods is an elite obstacle course racer and a doctor of chiropractic. Hey, Ryan.
Hello.
Evan Perperis is an elite obstacle course racer, a published author, and an active duty Army Special Forces officer with a cumulative 44 months in combat zones in the Middle East. He's also the host of the Strength and Speed podcast. Hey, Evan.
Hey, Will.
Ryan, we kind of the three of us talked offline before we got on the microphone, and if you want to make any kind of opening statement or whatever, go ahead and say whatever you'd like to say.
Well, I just want to address Evan and a lot of his statements he's made in his podcast, both podcasts actually. The first one was he tried to stay more factual, but you can still see a lot of biases in that one. And then I wanted to address a lot of the questions he has. He didn't want to come and approach me about it, but I wanted to give him the opportunity to ask me these questions in person and let me have an answer to them and have a say in it.
Evan?
Cool. My intro is a little bit longer, so stay with me for a minute. I actually didn't think this was a good idea initially, but now that we're here, I actually do think it's a good idea, and I think we might be able to get this wrapped up by the end of this episode. So at the beginning, in my intro, you said I was an active duty Special Forces officer, which is true. I spent most of my time in 5th Group in the Middle East, which focused on the Middle East. So the reason that's pertinent to this topic is Special Forces' core mission is unconventional warfare. Unconventional warfare involves going into a foreign country and linking up with the resistance force to disrupt or overthrow the hostile government or occupying power. Part of that is working with indigenous forces and personnel, which requires an understanding of lie detection without fancy machines. So I do have some training in the topic. I'm not just reading a couple of books, although all the stuff I said on my podcast, I did pull those terms and topics directly from books. So everyone kind of has like a baseline in SF on this stuff, but some people go to more advanced courses, and I happen to fall in the latter category. I did send Mark Ballas and Robert Killian basically all my qualifications, so they have validated that they're true, and I'm not basically pulling stuff out of my ass. It is covered in Social Security numbers and other information, so I'm not going to go share it publicly all over the internet because I don't want that stuff out there. And then I just want to cover a couple of things that people have said to me, and again, I apologize this is long. Just kind of off the bat, there's a large part of me does not feel good about calling Ryan out. That's dragging someone's name to the mud it never feels good, but I did it because I thought it was what's best for the sport. I think that's definitely debatable, but a couple weeks on, I still stand by that decision and stand by my conclusions. I hope Ryan has some compelling evidence or information during this podcast, and if it is good, I'm willing to delete both of my podcasts and issue a public apology if I'm wrong. And then a couple other things, I did reach out to Ryan via text message basically saying I was going to put out the episode, but I don't think I conveyed appropriately the length and description of the episode. So I think in hindsight, I should have asked for a phone call and actually lay that out. So when I message him, I'm not going to say exactly what we said back and forth, but
you can say it. Go for it. Say whatever you like.
Okay. I'd have to bring it up. Give me a second.
Or not. I mean, we can kind of get this a little quicker.
Yeah, so basically I said I was going to make a podcast calling you a liar based off of speech patterns and inconsistencies. And you said basically, people believe what they want to believe or something to that extent. Is that about accurate?
No, I said that's what happens when you test positive for a banned substance.
Yep, that's correct. I agree with that.
Thank you for agreeing with that.
Yeah. And then kind of last thing I'll say is that all that being said, I don't hate Ryan, but I do believe in treating people who failed drug tests harshly to discourage others. And Ryan happened to be on the receiving end of this. So with that, I guess let's move forward.
Ryan, do you have any response before we get into the questions?
Well, he kind of covered a lot of things there. He's being very vague about his military training with lie detection. We could ask for more on that. I don't think he's willing to tell us any more on that. No, I'd like to get into his podcast, actually, if that's all right.
Yeah, Evan, you can have Evan, you can ask the first question.
Okay, most of my questions are pretty short. So this one's simple. Was this the first bottle of DHEA you purchased?
Yes.
Okay.
Am I lying?
No, I don't think so.
Good job.
It's hard to tell with one-word answers, but yeah.
And then Ryan, we'll alternate questions back and forth. If you had anything you wanted to ask Evan, go ahead.
This is going to kind of jump around a lot. Well, going back to your first podcast, you're talking about DHEA with Luke, I believe. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yep, the nutritionist.
And at 9:18 in, he says that it converts excess testosterone, excess DHEA into testosterone. Now, that's just not true. I can go right here to a PubMed article. It's one of the first one comes up. And in the abstract, you don't even have to get in the article. It starts talking a little bit about how it's banned from World Anti-Doping Agency. And then I'm going to read it verbatim. However, evidence for ergogenic activity of DHEA is still largely non-existent. Randomized trials in elderly subjects with an age-dependent decrease in DHEA have provided little or no evidence for enhanced physical performance after long-term administration of DHEA 50 milligrams. And smaller short-term studies in healthy male athletes using higher doses were completely negative. Thus, widely perceived performance-enhancing activity of DHEA is still more myth than reality. This is just one article, so you can go online and Google performance enhancement in DHEA, and this is what comes up over and over again. If you look into the conversion of extra DHEA in your body into testosterone, that is not true. That is not backed up anywhere at all. Did you look into that? Am I lying? I'm asking.
So that's Will's comments. I'm gonna decline to answer. He's the expert on nutrition.
You just went ahead and let him roll with it. You didn't even look into it at all on your own?
I did not. I know DHEA is listed as a banned substance, and whether the absolute effectiveness of it, for me, it's against the rules, just like kicking the bell is against the rules. And, I agree to abide by all the rules, whether I agree with them or disagree with them. So
well, that's interesting because I do as well. And when I found out I was taking the banned substance, I admitted guilt right away. And I was forthcoming about it. I've been open and honest about it. Yet there's still been, there's not been a whole lot of negative backlash online, except for from a handful of people, you being like the ringleader of it. And a lot of it has to do not so much on guilt or innocence, because I am saying I'm guilty. It's trying to turn it into something it's not, trying to turn it into, what was it that you said? You said long-term marginal gains. That's the phrase you used, which isn't backed up by science either. But your whole second podcast is about these long-term marginal gains that I could be receiving from DHEA. And that's not backed up by science is what I'm saying.
I'm saying that WADA bans the substance because they believe it's anabolic. So that's what I'm going with. Okay. If you have a problem with DHEA being on the banned substance list, you should email WADA.
Yes, of me being a liar and taking this in intentionally for, again, your quote, long-term marginal gains doesn't hold up with science.
I mean, marginal gains just means improving a little bit over an extended period of time that builds upon itself, right? So I was actually wrong. I will say I was wrong. I think I said it came from Lance Armstrong, but I want to say it comes from Sky Cycling, where they look at every little aspect and try to shave off a couple ounces here and a couple ounces there, and work on power output. Now,
you're reflecting. We're talking about DHEA and its performance enhancing capabilities, and if you look, you can go through PubMed, you can go anywhere online, and you're not going to find anything supporting it being performance enhancing. And in fact, Luke refers to it twice Theoretical and unreliable, he refers to it as, yet you still keep on throughout the entire episode, turning it into something it's not.
Well, I wouldn't know because I haven't taken it. Maybe you can speak on if you felt better during the couple months you were on it.
All right, so this is where this is going. You're just going to like throw little jabs out there. I'm telling you what the research is saying, and you're just taking jabs.
Okay, I'll admit I do think it has benefit. Again, that's why WADA banned it.
You think that, but you don't have evidence of that.
I'm trusting.
Let's talk about this.
Go ahead.
So WADA bans. That's a good switching point here. Okay. So did you know WADA also bans marijuana?
I do.
Now you mentioned that WADA bans it for 3 criteria. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it has to hit 2 of those 3 criteria. I'm not sure it has to hit all.
You mentioned that in your podcast, but that's correct. It only needs to hit 2 of them. Those 3 things being performance enhancement, actual or potential health risk, and violation of the spirit of sport. Now, according to WADA, marijuana hits all 3 of those, okay? Marijuana is, according to WADA, performance enhancing. It is an actual or potential health risk, and it violates the spirit of sport. If you go to the USADA website, they've got a whole article on marijuana. So just because WADA bans it doesn't necessarily mean it's given anyone any sort of major boost, because I know a lot of stoners, none of them are winning races, all right?
Does it list them as performance enhancing specifically for cardio or strength sports? Because I know they do list banned substances for things like archery and
marijuana. Is that it impairs physical activity, including exercise performance. While the effects of marijuana can decrease hand-eye coordination and distort spatial perception, there are other effects that can be performance enhancing for some athletes and sports disciplines. Cannabis can cause muscle relaxation, can reduce pain during post-workout recovery, can also decrease anxiety and tension, resulting in better sports performance under pressure. In addition, cannabis can increase focus and risk-taking behaviors, allowing athletes to forget bad falls or previous trauma in sport and push themselves past those fears in competition. Directly from the USADA website, they have multiple ways that is performance enhancing. I think any general person can understand that marijuana isn't performance enhancing.
Okay, that's your opinion. Noted. Again, I'm deferring.
Do you disagree?
I'm deferring to WADA made the rules. I'm abiding by them. That's my opinion.
I'm just asking your opinion, Evan.
Do I think marijuana is performance enhancing? I don't. Do I care enough to send angry emails to WADA and create a protest about it? I also don't.
I didn't ask that.
All right, Evan, why don't you go to your next question?
Okay, again, most of my questions are pretty short. So have you purchased bottles of DHEA before?
No.
Quick follow-up. How do you know they give you a burpee fish aftertaste then?
Because I bought fish oils before. Would you like to see my order history from Thorne? I got pictures of that. I'm willing to share that.
Yeah, I was actually going to suggest that later.
It goes back to 2015. That's when they updated their website. My first order of them in 2015 did include fish oils. I'll share that with you and for anybody else. I'm also happy to share a photo of the DHEA I take. You mentioned in your podcast that it would say something on the bottle about libido or muscle improvement or testosterone, and you can see the bottle says nothing about that anywhere on it. I can also show you a picture of the health food store I bought it from. Not a nutritional store. It's a health food store. It's an organic grocery store. And you can see the placement of the bottle right next to the cardiovascular section. I've described that multiple times in podcasts. You've heard that multiple times. You've kind of twisted it around to fit a couple of different arguments. But I'll share that picture as well. And I've been willing to do that from the beginning. I've shared it with several people, and I'm happy to do so again.
Okay. Sounds great.
Now that you mentioned DHEA, I'd like to respond. You refer to DHEAs or DHAs. Oh, look, I did that again. I misspoke the two. Obvious sign of guilt, right, Evan?
Not in this one, because I think you planned that one, but okay.
Actually, I didn't plan that one, but again, you're a little off. DHAs you refer to throughout your podcasts as fish oils. Is that true, Evan?
Not exactly. Again, I'm not the nutritionist, but I know the difference between a clear and solid pill.
That's not what I questioned. That's not what I questioned. I asked if that's how you refer to it during your podcast, as fish oils.
I believe I did.
Well, DHEA or DHA, I did it again, is from algae. Fish eat algae, which gives them a higher level of DHA, which is why people will buy that supplement to get their fish oils. But it isn't necessarily fish oils. You do that because you want to make me sound guilty because everyone knows what a fish oil tastes like.
Okay.
There are plenty of vegetarian sources of DHA. Now, again, I've never taken them. All right. I've never taken DHA before now. I've never taken DHA. I've purchased fish oils over the years. I've never finished a bottle of them. I can say that. I know that omega-3s are good for me. That's part of the nutrition class I've taken. And I went to the store to buy zinc and arginine. I did discover recently that was during an injury I had. I sprained my calf doing a speed workout on the 16th of August. I went on in and bought them on August 20th. I believe my thinking would have been get healthy, make sure I'm taking all my supplements. And again, it's too much jumping around here, but my thought process in this isn't necessarily as pure and clear as, say, a military insurgent who's lying, trying to kill people, okay? This is me going to grocery store and buying supplements. There is nothing underhanded in it. There's nothing devious. So if I'm telling the truth, then my memory of it might not be all that perfect.
Fair enough.
Lying, then I would go in there and I'm sure I'd have some sort of devious plan in a coat and I'd be shoving it in my pocket and sneaking around. But if I'm telling the truth, my memory would be pretty vague. It's just a trip to the grocery store. The fact that it was a completely different grocery store than I normally go to, that I went there because I wanted to get good quality supplements, makes it stand out a little bit, so I do remember going there. But in terms of my actual thought process, all I know is I thought I was taking DHA. The
Gotcha.
irony here is I looked in my grocery store I normally go to, and they don't even sell DHEA. So if I just would have stuck with that, this whole mess never would have happened. What was the other thing I was going to mention just now? You had me on two topics. Fuck.
I'll jump in.
What was I going to say here?
I'll jump in since we're at a pause. Again, most of my questions are short.
Do you have it, Ryan, or do you want Evan to ask another question? What do you think?
No, he can go on. That's fine. I forgot what I was going to say.
So I just want to know why did you start taking a new supplement a month, basically, I guess it was 2 months or a month before championship, right? A month before Tahoe.
Again, it was fish oils that I thought I was taking. I've taken them before. I was just trying to be healthy. And like I just said, I just remembered that I did tweak my calf and I was running injured on it for a week and a half or two. So I was just trying to be as healthy as possible, trying to reduce as much inflammation in my body as possible. I probably picked up my diet, started eating a little healthier at that point in time as well, just to make sure I was healthy going into the championship season.
Okay. Were you taking the pills directly from the bottle?
Yeah.
Like every day you opened the bottle and poured it out on the table?
The bottle, yes. Every day I grabbed that bottle in my hand that said DHEA and I took it out of there.
Okay. Then I'm still a little confused. How do you not know the difference between the solid pill and the clear pill? Like I'm just having trouble. So I do think you're being a lot more honest on this one. But I'm just having trouble imagining
this entire process. I just didn't think about it. I took it home. Once it got home, it was just in my cabinet of supplements. It was just something I was taking with all my others. I take them in the evening before bed. I might have been rushed. I feel a lot of guilt in that myself. I was taking something I shouldn't have been from August 20th until November 20th. That has cost me a lot of pride, a lot of recognition. It has embarrassed me. It has cost my friends their results. And it was something that 2 out of every 3 nights, because I took 62 of the pills in those 3 months, 2 out of every 3 nights I opened up and took without looking. I feel a lot of guilt in that. I feel really shitty about that.
Okay. That's better. That was the emotion that I wanted to hear all along. I haven't heard it until now. Okay.
Fuck you, dude. Don't tell me how I'm supposed to feel in this, all right? You did this emotion thing like because I'm more upset about having to contact Hunter and Atkins and tell them that our world championship is disqualified because I was taking a banned substance. Yeah, that affects me more than actually finding out I took the banned substance and I'm in trouble, because this isn't me that's being affected. It's 2 other guys, and it was Ryan Atkins doing something amazing that I just fucking got him disqualified in. Yeah, that affects me a little bit more. That is upsetting to me. I can handle punishment for myself. I was taking it. I acknowledge that they didn't do anything wrong. My World's Toughest Mudder teammates didn't do anything wrong.
Noted.
Good.
Brian, did you have another question for Evan?
Oh, I got lots of stuff. Did you realize there's only 2 banned substances that you can buy even at a GNC? DHEA and synephrine, which is like an epinephrine sort of product. It's something that is in weight loss materials with caffeine.
Yep, weight loss materials with caffeine and pre-workouts. Or typically,
a lot about
weight
this.
loss, pre-workouts, and fat burners. Wait, I said that. Weight loss. Weight loss.
We get it, dude.
Pre-workout and testosterone boosters are the 3 most likely you'll see with these banned substances. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's nothing that, as we talked about before, actually increases testosterone levels. It's something that's bought over the counter, no needles involved, something oral. And it's really one of 2 things that you could potentially accidentally take. Did you know that DHEA is not banned by baseball or natural bodybuilding? Second one, I do.
I didn't know that. Baseball.
You're the one that said that. It was on your fucking podcast. I took it directly from you.
I think I misheard the question. Can you repeat it one more time?
Major League Baseball and natural bodybuilding don't ban DHEA.
Okay, yeah. Correct.
Okay. Do you ever cross your mind why?
Again, I know it's banned by WADA, so I abide by those standards. When I was doing natural bodybuilding.
What this is about, this isn't about guilt or nothing. This is about intent. I understand that as well. I have acknowledged that from the beginning. This isn't about guilt. It's intent. So answer the question. Quit deflecting.
I've known. Okay, let me back up. I can't remember where you left me off before you interrupted me. DHEA, I know, is not banned by natural bodybuilding because I used to do natural bodybuilding, and I purposely didn't take it because I knew I would cross back over into other WADA sports. So yes, I knew that. I also
asked you why you thought that it was allowed.
Yeah, you'd have to ask them. I'd be speculating at the answer.
I'm asking you to speculate.
Because I think it has a mild anabolic effect, and they're okay with a little bit of anabolic effect because it makes natural bodybuilders look better on stage, and it looks better for the sport. That's why natural bodybuilding will never be a big thing, because no one gets big enough to really get impressive. You just get very lean and cut, yeah.
But you feel like that this supplement is something I would take to get better at obstacle racing, and I would take through obstacle races to get better at it.
I did, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay, just want to make sure. Despite all we've talked about, you're still standing by it.
Have you used any other banned substances?
Yeah.
Such as?
Weed. Smoked weed before.
Okay.
I was a teenager once. Besides that, no.
Okay. Was this the first time you tested positive for a banned substance?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know any other athletes currently taking banned substances?
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, was reached out to by a guy that I told the story of that you used against me in terms of deflecting, but so I know people who have been banned before.
Okay.
Ryan, do you want to
go for it.
Brian, do you want to ask any questions of Evan? He's had a few.
They can keep going. I mean, these are so short, might get a little bit more in depth.
Go ahead.
Okay. So do you normally order all your supplements online from Thorne Pharmaceuticals? Is that correct?
Yeah. Again, yes.
Okay. And you never buy them locally except for this one time?
No, occasionally if I run out of something and I'm not making an order, I think I said in one of the podcasts, I get free shipping if it's over $100. So if it's just one item I need, I'll go to a grocery store usually and get it. Also, because I'm a chiropractor, I do get nutritional supplements at cost. That's why I order them from Thorne as well. It's a good quality product that I get fairly cheap. Also, I want to point out one thing. Well, I'll let you finish. You don't want to interrupt here.
And you said you started buying them in 2015 from this website?
From Thorne? No, I've been buying them since 2009 when I got my license.
Oh, okay. And how often?
Back to 2015 on their website, the order history.
Ah, okay.
I don't know why. You can look at it.
How often do you order supplements from them?
A couple times a year.
3, 6? What are we talking? 10?
Couple, 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Got it. Okay. And you said do you have an account? You said you have an account with them with an order history, correct?
Yeah, I'll show you. Yes, you can look over it as much as you like.
Okay.
I'll
cool.
give you my account number and you can call and maybe you can get order histories going back to 2009. Hell, man, go for it.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll give you clearance.
So that was actually going to be how, since we're pretty much at that point already, that's actually going to be how I was going to conclude this discussion, right? So, if you let...
Well, hey, yeah, before we conclude,
we can keep going.
Ryan, what'd you have for Evan?
Well, I want to get back to these marginal gains that you talked about for a second here. In your first podcast, you did a lot of deflammatory stuff in your first podcast that was really subtle and underhanded. And one of them that you and your boys did was when you're talking about marginal gains. I love this analogy. It was fantastic. You talk about gaining 5 seconds per 100 meters rowing, which would be the marginal gains, which anyone that's done CrossFit, and I've gone to 10 CrossFit classes now, knows that 500 meters is about 1 minute and 45 seconds. So at 5 seconds for 100 meters, you were subtly saying, oh, you could gain 25 seconds for 500 meters. At no point did you correct him. You just let that go on. And these are the marginal 0.1% gains you're talking about. But when you're describing it, you're using something much, much larger than that. I think that should warrant correction. And, that's just inaccurate.
Okay.
I also think, what we're seeing here from you isn't so much looking into and gaining, accurate facts. I think what we're seeing is your personal ego showing. I think you think of yourself as a top tier elite athlete who's doing great, amazing things. And I don't think you are. I think you're a phony. I think you're a lousy bodybuilder. I think you use DHEA as an excuse for being a bad bodybuilder. I think you're using DHEA now as an excuse for not being competitive at a top level in obstacle racing. And you take a lot of joy in somebody else going down, and while you can thump your chest and say, look at me, I'm clean. I think you show your ego a lot in this. In your intellectual discussion, like adults, you guys are giggling like little hyenas throughout the entire thing. That's not intellectual. That's just fucking acting like children. I think your general perception of yourself as being the ultimate in strength and speed is a joke. You're not fast. You don't have any speed. We raced in 2009 at the Outer Banks Marathon, and I beat you by almost an hour, 2 minutes a mile. You have average to below average speed at best, but for some reason, your ego tells you you're great. You write books on 5K trainings despite being a 20-minute 5K runner. You've got your fast, medium, slow pace. You're not qualified for that as an athlete. If you want to study that as a trainer, if that's what your schooling has taught you, that's fine. This is all about your ego. These 2 podcasts are your ego. Everyone's a cheater except for you. You're fucking giddy and joyful about it, and you're just a shithead.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with that, obviously. Let's start at the top. So the marathon you mentioned was well before I started training really hard. So that was actually my first somewhat even decent marathon. But again, that was 2009.
Athlink shows you've got a lot of marathon results out there.
Yeah, and I gradually made improvement over 15 years. Okay. If we want to talk obstacle course racing, I don't know what it says that I've beaten you 3 times in obstacle course races. So
name one.
World's Toughest Mudder 2015. You ran 20 miles. I ran 70. World's Toughest Mudder
I
2016.
didn't do World's Toughest Mudder in 2015.
That's not what the athlete. That's not what the website shows.
Didn't do it in 2015.
Okay, maybe it must be another Ryan Woods. Okay, World's Toughest Mudder.
I did it in 2011, and I did 1 lap and froze. Then I came back last year, and I ran for 12 hours, got in 55 miles, and quit.
Okay, so World's Toughest Mudder 2016, you ran 55 miles. I ran 90.
So if I drop out, you can beat me. Congratulations. You're awesome.
It's part of Ultra OCR,
you're
man.
Elite, dude. You fucking pat that ego in the back. I dropped out, and you beat me. What else? What's your third one?
It still counts. And then the World Championship, you got disqualified, so that counts as a win too. Sorry.
You're showing your fucking ego, man. Look at you. I was disqualified, so you beat me. Yeah, except for I crossed the finish line probably an hour before you. But that DHEA, man, that made me Superman, right?
Still there?
Evan, did you have another question for Ryan?
I don't think I was done talking about that. I forgot where I was.
Keep going. I'd love to hear more of your delusion. Like, this is great. Talk more about you as an athlete. Keep hashtagging your sponsors. How much do your sponsors pay you? How much money are you getting from them?
I'm not going to share what my sponsors give me.
Can I have a guess? If I guess right, will you say if I guess right?
No.
You don't get shit. All right, you get a discount on product. All right, maybe you get commission on stuff you sell, but you get discount on product, and it's not even what wholesale is. All right, you're not sponsored. You're just
that's not accurate. I will say that's not accurate.
I get salesman. All right. Hashtag the shit out of everything. Hashtagging sponsored. Hashtagging elite athlete. You're fucking nobody, and this is exactly what you do. You fucking want to put everybody else down and raise yourself up to be this fucking egomaniac, strength and speed, ultimate human being, and you're not. You're phony. You're pathetic, and you're slow, and you're fucking small.
You have your opinion.
You do too. You got to voice yours in 2 podcasts, and now I get mine.
I appreciate this. This is much more. Yeah, this is much more appropriate here. So
you go fuck yourself.
Okay.
I'm fucking out there dealing with this hard situation. A lot of different angles coming at me. Potential punishment. Like, you don't know what I had to go through for this. For a guy who's never done anything wrong in his life, who never breaks any of the rules, I'm fucking dragged through the dirt. And then you're telling me I'm responding the wrong way. And now you're fucking, oh, this is how you should have been. Man, fuck you. You don't know what I went through this past 2 months, all right? Fuck you.
Fair enough.
You're fucking military. You're questioning people in the streets of Iraq. Like that. Like those people. What are you questioning them for? Like, this is somebody like taking the wrong supplement. All right. They don't correlate. Your experience there does not correlate to this at all. You are not qualified for this at all.
Also disagreed with that.
What? Because you read some books? Because your in the field experience would not qualify you for this.
The courses I have would, but okay.
But we can't hear about those. You know, other people can. You can tell other people, but you can't tell us about it. Top secret.
I told 2 people who are in the military who have access to that information.
What was your undergraduate degree in?
Psychology and economics, Johns Hopkins.
When did you go to University of Kansas? Was that your master's?
It was.
And what was that in?
International relations. You still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, international relations. That was it.
Just curious.
Evan, do you have more questions, or Ryan, do you have another question?
Evan, go.
No, I mean, so I was actually going to I was going to conclude this podcast with.
Oh, we're not done. We're not done.
Okay.
Sorry, we haven't even gotten to the second podcast yet.
Okay, yeah. So I pretty much got one more request, which essentially you've essentially offered already. But other than that, you can keep talking.
Go for it, Ryan.
So you said in your human lie detector podcast, first thing you need to do is set a baseline. Is it normal to set a baseline off of interviews that other people did and you pick up off of that?
Yeah, it's normal.
So how do you set a baseline with a detainee or somebody on the street of Iraq?
So for that one, it doesn't apply 1-to-1. But
So-
what does apply is you ask them questions where either you know the answer to, or you know they're not trying to hold back information, and that creates the baseline. And then you adjust from there when you ask them questions that they're trying to deceive for you.
So do you have a lot of experience setting a baseline? If most of your work's been done in Iraq, all of your work?
I've had some other countries, but yes, I have a decent amount of experience there. Yeah.
So listening to, an hour and a half of podcast was normal for you in Iraq.
No, because podcasts didn't run, as far as I know, weren't around back then. I mean, I don't know when podcasts started. It's a good question, but.
All right, let's get into I think it was 8 points on the lie detection test. Inappropriate reaction is number 1. Is that correct?
Yes.
You at one point say that I have an emotion like a laugh. Is that correct? When
Correct.
I'm describing the bottle and how there is a men's libido in between the DHEA and the CoQ10, one men's libido bottle.
Something like that, yes.
Did I laugh or did I just go like just more of a, geez, I should have noticed that?
I mean, I heard it as a laugh, so yes. Laugh.
But how are you differentiating that?
I think they're the same thing.
A self-deprecating, geez, like men libido, like how did I not notice that? Versus, haha, I'm pulling one over on you. It's not your job to differentiate that in your human lie detecting.
It's again, I'm having trouble where you're going here.
Just asking a question. This is the evidence you used against me. I'm bringing it back up, and I'm asking you to explain how you are able to differentiate a reaction of, geez, I can't believe there's men's libido right beside what I grabbed, versus, haha, I'm pulling one over on you motherfuckers. I'm asking you, like, how would you differentiate that? You're a human lie detector. This should be an easy question for you. There's no trick here. I'm just asking you.
If we're going to pick apart a specific point, then no, it's the accumulation of stuff that made me not believe you.
I've got a list here. We're going to accumulate. Okay. The lobster pick. 4 lobsters that I had in front of me. It was 3, but you referenced that as being similar to Lance Armstrong's 7 yellow jerseys. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you know Katie's brother's a lobsterman and those lobsters were free?
No.
Did you care?
It seemed like an inappropriate reaction based off of everything that was going on, in my opinion. Again, that argument is definitely a weak point. I completely agree with that.
All right. Let's talk about inappropriate reactions. You actually tell the audience what your reaction would be, and it is that of violence. You would smash that bottle all to hell. Is that an appropriate reaction? Smashing an inanimate object because it was the source of your failed drug test?
For me, it would be, yeah.
I mean, doesn't that sound a little bit like roid rage?
I guess so.
Have you ever taken steroids?
No.
Have you ever taken EPO?
No.
Because you did improve by over an hour in your marathon PRs in a short amount of time.
I would not say that was a short amount of time, but that was the first time I followed an actual training plan. So, yeah.
And your 5K and 10K, you ran a 10K at the same pace as your marathon PR 2 months before, and all you can muster was 6:40 pace for a 10K 2 months before a marathon.
I typically train and peak for marathons because I tend to be better at endurance. And I typically, when I run 5Ks and 10Ks, I don't peak. I just kind of go in them based off my current training level.
Everybody trains through races, but I can train through a 10K and still go faster than my marathon pace in it. I mean, so you couldn't?
Which specific 2 races are we talking about?
This was the Wilma Jean race.
Okay.
Before the marathon, Wilma Rudolph race before the Marquette Marathon.
Okay,
you ran
yes.
6:46 pace at the Marquette Marathon. 2 months prior, you ran 6:44 pace for a 10K.
Yep, so the Wilma Rudolph, you do a 5K and a 10K in the same day.
Okay, so 15K, we get rest in between.
Correct.
And then a month before the Marquette Marathon, you only mustered 6:24 pace for a 10K. So you did improve, but still, that's only 20 seconds faster than your marathon pace for a 10K.
Again, I'm an endurance guy. I'm mostly slow twitch here. So that's where
What's amazing is after that marathon, you did a 10-mile race. Most people are like, after blowing up, getting their lifetime PR in a marathon, they need time to recover. You, 5 weeks after that marathon, did the Army 10-miler at 6:12 pace, faster than your build-up 10K pace. That is amazing recovery, Evan.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Fast course.
Fast course, yeah, absolutely. That's usually what it is. All right, let's go to memories and lies, remembering the specific order. Now, you referenced me as having a hard time keeping facts straight. I'm dictating the conversation what it's about. And, I can't read what I wrote. So dictating the conversation, that quote you put out there of me on the video was me basically just standing there hovering, not getting asked a question, but being asked to speak. I didn't have anywhere to go with what they said, so I said, do you want me to talk about the situation? By no means was I dictating the conversation. I answered their question. It was left open-ended. You left that off of it, but that's how I got to that situation.
Okay.
Hard to keep facts straight. Again, this is a situation where I acknowledged it many times. I don't have specific memory going in there to the store and picking out the DHEA, all right? I didn't go in there to get it. I ended up picking it up thinking it was DHEA. I never thought I was doing anything wrong, so I don't have any recollection of it. As I acknowledged many times and you used against me many times, I am building a narrative around pseudo facts. All right. I know I was there. I know why I was there. I don't remember the entirety of my thought process because it was such a benign event.
Okay.
Do you understand how that would be the case if the story that I'm telling is the real story? Can you acknowledge for a second that when I'm telling the truth and I'm saying, I don't remember, it wasn't a big deal. If I'm telling the truth, that means he doesn't remember. It was just a trip to the grocery store. Can you acknowledge that would be how the situation would have went down?
Sure.
I know that hurt. And that goes into our next point, vagueness. I think we just covered that. Oh, yes. Yes. Here's another point that I love. I'm kind of just putting some of these together now. So DHEA it used to be classified as a steroid. It's now a supplement, but you seem to want to use my knowledge of nutrition against me for steroids. I've never taken a nutrition class that covered steroids. Steroids and nutrition are not in the same ballpark at all. But for some reason, you and your little clan over there of Luke and the other trainer, they keep on wanting to put steroids into nutrition. Is that a fair assessment?
I think the point of that was to say that you had a knowledge of nutrition, so you'd be able to tell if something was off, essentially a DHEA.
Yes, but you lump in knowledge of steroids with that, knowledge of DHEA into that. Did you not do that?
I'm pretty sure we did because it's very easy to Google something and take a look at it and figure it out.
Who's Googling?
You're an expert.
So nutrition is diet and supplementation, okay? It's not steroids. The nutrition classes I had, like I've covered many times, were based on the anti-inflammatory diet, okay? Low grains, low processed food, low sugars, high lean meats that are wild caught, high in omega-3s, not just fish, but even wild game like venison. The high omega-3 ratio is to reduce inflammation in the body. How your body breaks down and stores those things as cytokines. That's nutrition. I don't know anything about steroids. I'm a chiropractor. I don't know anything about prescription drugs at all. We don't deal in that. So you're lumping me being a chiropractor and knowing about nutrition in with steroids is false. I don't know anything about that. It's not my area of expertise, and it's not fair for you to keep lumping the two together. You use my speed of voice when I'm talking about chiropractic. I speed up. You use that against me. And then when I slow down talking about DHEA, you use it against me. I don't know anything about DHEA, nor do I know anything about steroids. I know stuff about chiropractic. I'm a chiropractor. I know stuff about the anti-inflammatory diet. It resonated with me when I was in school 10, 11 years ago, and it's stuck with me throughout these 10, 11 years. That's all I've done for my supplementation. I have included in carnitine and arginine. I figure if Galen Rupp is taking needles of carnitine for recovery, maybe I'll just take some oral ones. There's got to be something good to it. It's not banned. It's not immoral. I just took that because it seems like the amino acid that, endurance athletes are taking. Same with arginine. All right. That's my supplementation.
Okay.
Do you acknowledge you're tying in supplementation and diet and nutrition to steroids? Knowledge of the two, you've merged them together quite often.
Yeah, I think they bleed over into each other, or at least a baseline understanding of, what I think they bleed over into each other. You understand one, you generally understand, what you can and can't take, and et cetera.
Wait, no. What hormone and steroid class bleeds into nutrition? How do they bleed into each other?
I think when anyone goes to look at improved performance, they look at what they can take, and then you quickly find out, well, this is a substance I can't take. So when you educate yourself on one, again, you end up bleeding over and educating yourself on the other. At least that's how.
Okay, so I'm looking into it, and I realize I can't take DHEA, but I'm just taking it anyway. But everything else is just healthy, anti-inflammatory, just nutritional diet. But I just looked into this one and it was like, oh, go. Yeah, you can't take it, but I'm going to go ahead and take that one.
Oh, no.
Is that what you're saying?
He doesn't know enough about it.
It doesn't sound like you've got a lot of knowledge on nutrition and diet. It sounds like you've got a lot of knowledge on steroids. I'm not going to ask you how, but you do seem to have a lot of knowledge in that. I don't, all right? Nothing I've said points to any evidence of that. I am taking a supplement by accident, all right? I think it's pretty clear. Most people do as well. Most people acknowledge DHEA doesn't do anything to enhance performance. Some stores, they're beside each other. I think I would have actually not gotten it if they were beside each other. It would have stood out to me as different. But because mine was by the cardiovascular section as it bled into the men's health section, it actually stumped me more. I will show you the picture, and you can see it 2 bottles away from CoQ10. And you can see all the CoQ10, some of it with DHA in it, right there beside it, just on the other side. All right, that's nutrition. That's not steroids. Do you understand the difference?
Yep.
Do you acknowledge the difference?
Yes, there's a difference. Yes.
Do you acknowledge that education in nutrition would be different than education in steroids?
Yes, but like I said, I still think they bleed over into each other. But okay.
In chiropractic school, do you think they would bleed over into each other? As a holistic natural practitioner, do you think we get a lot of training in steroids?
Not formalized, no.
Have you been to a chiropractor that'll do some nutritional work, though? Or do you know of chiropractors that do nutritional work?
I don't go to a chiropractor, so no.
Do you know of them that do it, is what I asked.
No.
Okay, well, they do. I'm sorry you don't know that. They do nutritional work. They don't do steroid work, all right? The two are separate. You want to merge them together and make my knowledge of nutrition, use it against me, go for it. It's fucking wrong. Will you bring me some more wine? Fuck these guys. You got anything, Evan?
Nope. You can keep going.
All right. Then one of my favorite lines is when I believe it's when someone's asking me if I knew why Adrian was calling, and I go, yeah, no, I assumed it was something bad because it was out of the ordinary. But you took that I said, which was more of an acknowledgement of understanding the question, and you turned it into me admitting guilt. You said that because I go, yeah, no, that I'm saying, yeah, I did it, that my conscience is clear. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a common technique you'll see in a lot of these books. Yep.
Okay. And you still stand by that's what I was doing. I was admitting it, even though I was denying it.
Based off the facts of the time, yes.
What about now?
You're convincing me the other direction.
Fuck you. So maybe you didn't do the fucking enough work the first time. Maybe you should have picked up the phone and called me. Maybe you should have had me on your podcast. Instead you bamboozled me. By the way, speaking of liars, do you remember at the end of your podcast declaring how you offered that if I came clean and admitted to you that you would not do the podcast? Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
Did you say that in that email to me?
I believe I did.
You did not. You want to go look it over real quick?
Sure.
Not that it would have mattered, but listen, what are you doing there? All you're doing is building up you as a good, honest, decent human being and putting me down as just some dirty, skeezy liar. That's all you're doing. You're lying to make yourself look better and putting me down. And that was a lie. And take a look at your email. You'll see it. You looking right now?
I am. I feel like I should give you the common courtesy of letting you know ahead of time, plus my motivations that I give people a second chance, blah, blah, blah.
Get wordy.
I'll take no responses. Go ahead and release the episode tonight.
Well,
okay, maybe I did. Maybe you're right. Maybe I did not say that.
Did you forget? Did you forget? Isn't that ironic? A little too ironic. Yeah.
I guess I didn't make it clear, so I implied it. You're right. I implied it. I did not make it clear.
Huh. Interesting. You also, when I referred to Matt Davakovich Bear as being one of the only guys in obstacle racing who would have more experience in drug testing because he was an NCAA athlete, he's older than I am, and he was cycling. You also took that as an opportunity to put a dig in. Why would I bring Bear's name into it? Like I've done something to disparage him. That was just a personal dig, wasn't it? I didn't do anything to disparage him. You just wanted to take another shot at me. Correct?
No.
No? Well, then what was it?
I just thought it was weird that you were bringing in other people's names into the conversation.
I was just bringing up the name of the only person that would probably have more experience than me. Is that not true?
You know better than I would.
I think I would. I seem to know a lot more than you do, actually. All this is just you building up a case to smear me. You're taking evidence that just suits your fancy. As I believe it was John Pinley online said when he listened to your podcast, which he didn't seem to get as many listens as you were hoping for. I apologize for that. He said you need to look into confirmation bias, didn't he? Did you look into that?
Yeah, I actually just got off the phone with him this afternoon.
Mm-hmm. And what'd you think?
I thought he had some valid points. He basically said that.
Don't say he had valid points. Talk to me about confirmation bias. You think confirmation bias is a valid point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't deflect like that. You're good at that, though, huh?
Confirmation bias is a valid point. I brought it up in episode between the two episodes we did about you. There was one with Margaret Schlachter, and I actually mentioned it towards the end of the episode.
Yeah, well, you didn't human lie detector one, did you?
I did not talk about it in the human lie detector one.
Then you talk about how because I've been tested in college, that's a common excuse that cheaters make, didn't you? Then you went into a whole diatribe about excuses cheaters make, didn't you?
I believe that's correct, yeah.
Did I make an excuse? Did I deny anything? Did I make an excuse? Did I deny anything? Hello?
Yep. You
Go. Speak. You had a lot to say back then. Speak. Hello? Hello?
I'm still here, Ryan. Evan, are you there?
Isn't this good?
Yeah, yep, still here. Sorry, breaking up there.
Do you want to answer the question?
The question was, did you deny anything? Or did you not deny everything? Did you deny anything?
Yes.
No, you denied that you took the substance purposefully. Yes, you did deny that.
Yes, I did. I wasn't actually addressed it in that manner. I described the scenario in which I took it. Now, you and your cohort painted a few scenarios where it could be beneficial, where I might want to take it. So I think we should address some of those scenarios, okay? One of those would be if I had low testosterone. That's something that the supplement companies will claim the benefits of increasing testosterone if you have low testosterone. Well, I'm covering some of these for you, okay? So you can use this against me all you like, that's fine. But I'm just going to say, if I had low testosterone and I'm willing to cheat, why wouldn't I just take prescription testosterone that would have been given to me? Why would I say no to that, which would help me, and take DHEA?
I don't know, easier to get, easier to access, easier to buy.
If I've got low testosterone, there's going to be a medical record of it, and doctors can prescribe it. So is it any easier? It's still going to show up as a positive test.
Seems like it'd be easier just to go to the store and pick it up, but I mean, again.
Is it as effective? Like you seem to want to skip over the fact that it's not effective, but I'm still doing it, but there's got to be a reason for it. But what is that reason, and how is it going to all tie together? You just don't want to put these pieces of the puzzle together. Like, here's a scenario that could be real. Like, go for it. Why would I be taking DHEA instead of prescription testosterone?
Again, my opinion was it would be easier to go pick up from the store or order it online than it would be to go get a doctor's prescription.
And your scenario was that I've been taking DHEA for years, and that I'd run out of my quality one from Thorne. Thorne doesn't sell it. Since I mentioned the company I bought from, you could have actually looked into that right away. And then I ran out of my quality one, so I was so desperate to take it that I took a bad substance and tested positive for that because it didn't clear my system. Correct?
Correct. What's the actual website? What's the website for Thorne? Because the one I looked at, they did have it listed.
I didn't. I mean, unless it's in a blend, I did not see it on their website.
I know. What's the website for Thorne? Because I must be looking at the wrong one.
Thorne.com.
Okay.
So,
is it with an E or just Thorne? Just THORN?
With an E. I don't think there's a Thorne without an E that's also a nutritional supplement company. So, did you realize 12 days before the OCR World Championships was the Spartan World Championships? I raced Sunday there, the World Team Championships. 12 days later, Friday, I raced a short course. Did you realize that that's the time window between drug testing events I did?
I'm not sure of the exact days, but yes, they're right up against each other. That's correct.
That's the exact days, all right? So I'm telling you now. So now do you still think that I'd run out of my quality DHEA and I was taking a bad substance, knowing that just 2 weeks before was the Spartan World Championships with drug testing?
You lost me on that. You lost me on that one. One more time. Sorry.
So 12 days, little short of 2 weeks before the OCR World Championships is the Spartan World Championships. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, you think I was so desperate to get a little bit of DHEA in my system that I took a bad supplement, a lower quality, tried to squeeze in 1 or 2 pills in between those races, and it didn't clear my system? Do you think I'm so dependent on DHEA I had to get in those extra pills? Because if I'm waiting for it to clear my system, I'm assuming it's, at least 2 weeks? I don't know this, but can you help me with that? I don't think you can, but can you help me with that? How long is it going to stay in your system?
I have no idea. I'm not sure.
Okay, great. I'm going to go 2 weeks because that's how long weed stays in your system. Again, I smoked pot in high school. So tell me, am I so desperate for one little hit of DHEA that I'm going to take it for 1 or 2 days in between these 2 races? That's your theory?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And you're sticking to that theory?
Again, you're convincing me otherwise.
What is the word? Marginal gains. Marginal gains over a long period of time. I mean, I guess if I'm expecting to get gains from DHEA, I got to be taking it every day. I mean, science says it won't do it, but fuck science, man. I got to get this shit in every day. Drug testing be damned, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I just admitted to it. Whoa, there you go. So, you finished your liar podcast saying, no doubt in your mind, you are 100% confident. Is that correct?
At the time, yes, I was.
Now, in your human lie detection training in the military, which is top secret, you can't tell us about, is that normal for them to say you will be 100% confident that you are a human lie detector and you can give, with accuracy, 100% results?
No, that's me putting the facts together and making a judgment call.
So your training didn't lead you to that. You just did that. Maybe for your ego? Maybe your ego did that? Your training didn't do that, but your ego did?
I would disagree, but if that's what you want to believe.
Well, what did it? I mean, because your training didn't. So what gave you 100% certainty?
Based off the available information I had at the time, that's the conclusion I came to.
Mm-hmm. And you finish it, you will call out liars. Correct?
Correct.
Good. I took that line to heart, and that's why we're having this little discussion on a little podcast tonight. I'm calling out liars. You're a fucking liar. You're an egomaniac, and you're a little shitty person. And I'm done.
Okay. That was good. I'll admit it. That was your facts were tight. It was well put together. The Thorn website I was looking at was not the same Thorn website.
Oh, how'd you spell Thorn?
I spelled it the same way, but when I Googled Thorn Pharmaceuticals, it sends me to Pure. What's the name of it? Give me a second.
Pure, yeah, that's a pharmaceutical grade company. Yeah, Pure. It's a different one, not Thorn. It's Pure. I'm familiar with that company.
Give me a second here.
Yeah. Thorn and Pure close. I mean, they both have letters in them. Vowels, consonants.
So yeah, that's the website it took me to, and that's the website I looked up the DHEA on. So
yeah, well, That's not where I order from. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. So
you're a good Googler. You Googled Thorn and got to Pure.
Evan, you said you had a kind of like some wrap up questions you wanted to ask Evan, or ask.
No. I mean, again. So I'll be the first. I'll admit it. I think at the end of my podcast, I publicly said that I thought you'd been taking it for years. After hearing you talk, I do not think that's true anymore. I will take down both of those.
Leave it up, Evan. You leave that bullshit up, all right? You leave it up as a badge of fucking shame for you to wear, all right? Don't fucking take it down now. That's your fucking looking like a fool. You leave it up.
If you want me to leave it up, I'll leave it up.
Will, are we done here?
Yeah. Ryan, do you have any closing statements you want to make?
Nah, man, I think I just closed. copies for closers, and I earned a cup tomorrow.
Evan, any last thoughts?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Hey, Evan, I'll see you out there on the course next year.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm going to hang up. Special thanks to Ryan Woods and Evan Perperis for appearing in this episode. Well done. So, what do you think? Are you swayed one way or the other? We will talk more about this during kickoff week, I'm sure, starting January 22nd. But until then, you can email me at willhicks@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at @TheWillHicks or Instagram at WillHicks. The best way to get more information is through our free weekly World's Toughest newsletter. You can subscribe to our newsletter by texting the word tough to the number 22828. And the best way for you to be a part of the show is to leave a review on iTunes, and I will read it in a future episode. Open the Purple Podcast app, search for Tough Mudder, and click our logo. We're the first one that pops up. Scroll way down to click on Write a Review. I will read it on a future episode. Thanks a lot, everyone. I've missed you. Yes, you.